My wife left our 12th anniversary dinner because her ex-boyfriend Caleb texted that he was outside and needed to know whether she still felt something for him. Her name is Megan, I'm Ethan, and she read the message twice before telling me she owed him an honest answer. I asked the server to separate our check, paid for my meal, and went home alone. The restaurant was where I had proposed. It was not the exact table. That one had been removed during a renovation, but Megan requested a corner booth beside the front windows because it faced the courtyard where we had taken pictures after she said yes. She wore the blue dress I bought her for our 10th anniversary. I wore a jacket she liked and arrived 20 minutes early to make sure the flowers were already on the table. We had planned the entire weekend around that dinner. After dessert, we would go home, sleep late, and drive to a cabin by the lake the next afternoon. Our phones were supposed to stay in the glove compartment once we arrived. Megan had chosen the hiking trail. I had bought the groceries. It was the first weekend in 6 months that neither of us had work, family, or house repairs waiting for us. Caleb was not supposed to be part of it. He had been Megan's first serious boyfriend. They dated from their last year of college until she was 26. He wanted to move west. She wanted to stay near her mother. They ended badly enough that she removed him from every account, then spoke about him only in fragments for the first few years we were together. I never felt as if I competed with him. Caleb belonged to a younger version of Megan who stayed out until sunrise and believed every disagreement needed a dramatic ending. When she told stories about him, she usually finished by saying she was glad she had grown up. Then they met again at a university fundraiser 3 months before our anniversary. I attended with Megan. Caleb walked toward us during the reception, recognized her immediately, and hugged her before either of them said a word. He was recently divorced. He looked at Megan for a long second after the hug and said she had not changed at all. She introduced me. Caleb shook my hand and told me I was married to the person who had once convinced him to drive 9 hours for a concert without tickets. Megan laughed in a way I had not heard in years. It was not flirtation by itself. It was recognition. They shared an old language, and for 10 minutes I was the person receiving translations. In the car afterward, Megan said the meeting felt strange but harmless. "He looks tired," she said. "The divorce hit him hard." I asked whether he had requested her number. He already had it from the alumni directory. That answer was technically true and designed to avoid the question. Caleb messaged her the next day. Megan told me before replying. He apologized for the way their relationship ended and asked whether she would be willing to talk sometime. She said she wanted to accept the apology but had no interest in reopening anything. "Then accept it once," I said. "Don't become his divorce counselor." She agreed. For the next month, Caleb appeared at the edges of our life. He sent an old photograph from the concert trip. He asked whether Megan's mother still made a particular cake. He forwarded a song they used to play. Megan did not hide the messages, but she also did not end them. If I said the tone was becoming personal, she reminded me that I could see everything. "I married you," she said. "A text cannot change that." I asked whether she had told Caleb our anniversary was coming. It came up. "How?" He asked what I was doing this month. I told her I did not want him inside our anniversary weekend, even as a joke or a memory. Megan put her phone face down. "He lives 3 hours away. He will not be inside our weekend." 12 days before the anniversary, Caleb called instead of texting. Megan was folding towels in our bedroom. I was in the hallway replacing a smoke detector battery when I heard her say, "That is not a fair question." Her voice was soft, not angry. I stopped outside the open door. She saw me and motioned for me to wait. "No," she told him. "I'm not going to imagine that with you." There was a pause. Then she said, "Of course what we had mattered. That does not mean it was supposed to last forever." When the call ended, I asked what question he had asked. Megan continued folding the towel in her hands. He asked whether we would still be together if he had stayed. And you said. I said I wasn't going to imagine it. After telling him what you had mattered. It did matter. I am not going to rewrite 6 years of my life to make you comfortable. I told her I was not asking her to erase the past. I was asking why Caleb had reached a point where he felt entitled to ask a married woman about an alternate life with him. Because his marriage ended, she said, he is looking backward. Then stop standing there when he looks. Megan accused me of treating empathy like infidelity. I said empathy did not require private conversations about the relationship they might still have if he had made a different choice. Caleb was not asking whether his old life had value. He was testing whether Megan still kept a place for him inside the life she had with me. She sat on the edge of the bed. There is no place, she said. Then close it. I will tell him the personal conversations are over. I asked whether she meant it. Yes. That promise is why the restaurant message did not arrive in a neutral marriage. Megan knew what Caleb wanted before he drove 3 hours. She knew I had not asked her to deny history. I had asked her to stop helping him turn history into a current option. On the afternoon of our anniversary, Caleb sent one ordinary message wishing us a good night. Megan showed it to me and did not reply. I took that as evidence that the boundary had finally held. Hours later, he knew our exact restaurant, our reservation time, and the question most likely to pull her out of her chair. At the restaurant, the first hour was good. We ordered the same appetizer we had shared on the proposal night. Megan held my hand across the table and told me the flowers were perfect. We talked about the cabin, the window estimate, and whether we should finally take a long trip for our 15th anniversary. Her phone vibrated during the main course. She ignored it once. It vibrated again. You can check it, I said. She looked at the screen and lost the expression she had been wearing with me. Not surprise, not fear, concentration. Is everything okay? It's Caleb. I set down my fork. She read the message again, then tilted the phone as if deciding whether to show me. I held out my hand. She passed it across the table. I'm outside. I drove in because I leave tomorrow. I need to know if you still feel it too. 10 minutes, please. There were 2 earlier messages above it. The first said he had been offered a job across the country. The second said he could not accept without seeing her once. Megan had answered, tonight is my anniversary. Do not do this. He had come anyway. Block him, I said. Megan looked through the window toward the courtyard. He drove 3 hours. That was his decision. He is leaving tomorrow. Also his decision. She told me she could go outside, tell him the answer was no, and return before our plates were cleared. It would close the door permanently. Ignoring him would let the question follow them both. The answer can be a message, I said. He will think you made me send it. Why does it matter what he thinks? Megan looked back toward the courtyard. I saw him then. Caleb stood beneath a light near the entrance wearing a gray coat, hands in his pockets. He was watching our window. He knew exactly where we were sitting. You told him the restaurant, I said. Weeks ago, when we were talking about places that mattered. You told your ex where we would celebrate our anniversary. I did not invite him. But you gave him a map to the one night I asked you to keep him out of. Megan said that was unfair. Caleb had crossed the line by coming, and she needed to make him understand it face to face. I asked the only question that mattered. Do you still feel something for him? She did not answer. The server approached to ask whether everything tasted right. Megan smiled automatically and said it was wonderful. The server walked away. I need 10 minutes, Megan said. If you leave this table to answer him, there will be no anniversary dinner waiting when you return. Ethan, do not turn 10 minutes into a threat. It is not a threat. I am not telling you what to do. I am telling you what I will do. You would end our night because I spoke to someone in a courtyard. You are not leaving to speak to someone. You are leaving our anniversary dinner to tell your ex whether you still want him. Her eyes filled, but her chair moved backward. I owe him honesty. You owe our marriage a choice. Megan picked up her coat. I choose you, she said. I am going outside to tell him that. Then tell him from the table where you chose me 12 years ago. She looked at me, looked at Caleb, and walked away. Caleb opened the outside door before she reached it. He did not look at me. Megan stepped into the courtyard and the door closed behind them. The server returned carrying a bottle of sparkling water. She followed my eyes to the window, then set it down without asking a question. Could you separate the check? I asked. Of course. Please put my appetizer, dinner, and drink on one. The flowers are already paid for. She asked whether I wanted Megan's meal boxed. That can be her decision. I did not keep watching the courtyard. I finished the food on my plate because I needed a few minutes before driving. When the separate check arrived, I placed my card on it. I signed the receipt, left a tip, and thanked the server. Megan's plate remained half full. Her wineglass had a print of lipstick on the rim. The flowers leaned toward the empty side of the booth. I went home alone. Megan called 23 minutes after she left the table. I did not answer while driving. She called again as I pulled into our garage. A message followed. Where are you? I said 10 minutes. I looked at the time. It had been 31. I went inside and removed the groceries for the cabin from the refrigerator. I put the food that would spoil into our kitchen and left the rest in the bags. I did not cancel anything that night. I simply stopped preparing to leave with her. At 11:40, the garage door opened. Megan entered still wearing the blue dress. The flowers were under one arm, wrapped in the restaurant paper. Her makeup had run beneath her eyes. You left me there, she said. You left first. She placed the flowers on the counter too hard. Water spotted the paper. I came back to the table. Your check was gone. Mine was sitting there like you were proving a point to the staff. I paid for the meal I attended. We are married. There is no your check and my check. There was no our anniversary once you chose his question. Megan said Caleb had been emotional. He was moving to Seattle and believed he could not begin again without knowing whether their old relationship had been a mistake. She told him she loved me and planned to stay married. Then why did it take 31 minutes? She looked at the flowers. Because he kissed me. The kitchen became very quiet. Did you kiss him back? For a second. Yes or no? Yes. She said it happened in his car, not in the courtyard. Caleb had asked her to sit somewhere private because people were walking past. She got into the passenger seat. He talked about the life they might have had. He touched her face and kissed her. Megan kissed him back before pushing him away. I was saying goodbye, she said. With your mouth. She flinched. Do not make it uglier than it was. You left your husband at an anniversary table, got into your ex's car and kissed him. I don't need to add anything. Megan insisted the kiss proved there was nothing left. It felt familiar but wrong. She had pulled away and told Caleb she chose me. You keep saying you chose me after you choose him, I said. She asked what I wanted her to do. Block him. Done. Delete the messages. Done. Call him in front of me and tell him never to contact her again. She would do it immediately. I told her I wanted space. She said we had a cabin reservation and 48 hours without distractions. We could drive there in the morning, put away our phones, and remember who we were before Caleb arrived. Caleb did not arrive by himself, I said. You carried him into our weekend before he drove here. I packed a small bag and stayed with my friend Marcus. The next morning, Megan sent me a screenshot showing Caleb blocked. I did not respond. She sent a photograph of the packed groceries and asked whether I was really throwing away the weekend. At noon, she canceled the cabin herself. For the first week, she framed the kiss as the issue we needed to survive. I kept returning to the moment before it. She had read a direct message from another man at our anniversary table. I asked her to reject it without leaving. I told her exactly what the shared evening would become if she walked out. She stood anyway. The kiss was not a random accident after that choice. It was where the choice led. Megan's mother said Caleb had manipulated her by appearing at a meaningful place on a meaningful night. I agreed. He had manipulated her, but manipulation did not move Megan's chair. It did not carry her through the door or into his car. My sister asked whether I could forgive one kiss after 12 years. I said the number of kisses was not the unit I was measuring. Megan had put her ex's unresolved feelings above the husband sitting in front of her, then expected me to preserve the table while she found out what she wanted. We started counseling 2 weeks later. In our second session, the counselor asked Megan why Caleb's opinion mattered after she had already decided to remain married. Megan said she hated the idea that he would leave believing she had never loved him. She wanted their history to mean something without threatening her present. Did Ethan's anniversary need to mean something that night? The counselor asked. Megan cried. She admitted she had expected me to stay. Even after I warned her, she believed I would wait, pay the whole bill and drive us home once she returned. She thought our marriage was too established to be changed by 10 minutes with someone from her past. I thought the table would still be there, she said. The table was there, I answered. I was not. That distinction became the entire marriage. Megan wanted to repair what happened without accepting that she had treated my presence as guaranteed. She apologized for the kiss. She apologized for the messages. But when she described leaving the restaurant, she still called it compassion. I asked whether compassion required her to get into Caleb's car. No. Did it require you to kiss him back? No. Did it require you to leave our table? She stared at me for a long time. I thought I could do both. I believed her. That was the problem. Megan believed she could choose Caleb for the moment because I would continue choosing her in the background. We separated before the end of that month. There was no public announcement beyond telling family and close friends. I did not contact Caleb. I did not send him the messages or ask whether he considered the kiss a victory. He had already taken enough space inside our marriage. 3 months later, Megan asked to meet at the restaurant. I refused that location and chose a coffee shop instead. She told me Caleb moved away and had not contacted her again. She had finally understood that his closure had cost her the life she actually chose. If I could go back, I would block him at the table, she said. I know. Does that matter at all? It matters to the person you become next. It does not put me back in the booth. Our separation became permanent. For a long time, I avoided the restaurant. Then a client suggested it for lunch. I sat near the front windows and realized the courtyard looked smaller in daylight. No place had held our marriage together. No table could preserve a promise after one person stood up and carried it outside. Megan left our anniversary dinner because another man asked whether she still felt something. I paid for one meal because I already had my answer. The wife who said she chose me had looked at her husband, looked at her ex and walked toward the question she wanted more.